Hi everyone, Mary at Espresso Press Design. Thank you for joining me today, July 29th, 2025. Today we're going to be doing some art jewelry inspired pieces. Very fun. If you just feel like, I don't know, it's very fun, very simple, relaxing. If you just want something to put together that will always end up looking nice, that's what we're gonna do. Let me get my thank yous here. Thank you to Laura, Teresa, Pat, JD, Janice, Denise, CR, Hetty, Lynn, and Monica. Thank you so much for your orders. I have a new paper here, time worn, and it is 5 pages in collage section of the Etsy shop. Very pretty. I added some real text here and there, so lots of different kinds of text incorporated into that, so it's not just a distressed background. So okay, these are what we're going to be making, and let me bring them up and show you individually here, because this one is embossed and you are probably not going to see a lot of it. And I'm getting a glare, so I hope you're seeing everything. This was inspired by jewelry, art jewelry. The focal points were buttons for the most part, and then all the filler was filled in with jewelry. So I didn't want jewelry pieces and seed beads and things like that. I didn't want the bulk because I want to put these in a journal, of course. So I improvised. So this particular piece is embossed, and then I took my gold pen and went over some of the embossing. This light, I got a new light, and it's I can't see clearly, but I went over some of the raised areas with my metallic pen to kind of mimic jewelry, and then I filled in with sequins. So that piece is embossed. So let me get to, originally I thought, let me bring them all up and show you here. So there we go. So these ones I did the same thing, except it's debossed, and then I went over some of the raised areas with my silver pen, trying to keep in mind I'm replicating jewelry. And originally I thought what I was going to do was this something like this, where I just did a masterboard and then I glued a bunch of little flowers cut out with this punch onto it, and then cut out a bunch of hearts. And then I thought, well, since there's so many different jewelry pieces, let me try to get a busy paper, and that was my second one, to try to mimic all those different little jewelry pieces that aren't dimensional on these, but were dimensional on the actual jewelry. So that was my thinking behind that. Okay, so you could go two ways. You could use your busy paper and then make your buttons still nice, but a little more plain, and let the busy paper mimic the jewelry pieces. Like they had little metal flowers and maybe some little charms and seed beads, things like that were the filler. You could do it that way, or you could make your background kind of plain and then let the buttons command all the attention. So I'm going to show you some paper ideas here of what you might use for that. I began with paper like this, and I'm saving all of these cutouts for another project. So I began basically with papers like this. So that's what I mean. By the time you'll either get a nice button or you'll get a nice background. So things like that. And I used this one for the blue ones. Maybe consider something like this. This has some foiling in it. This also has some foiling in it. This has a very small dot foil in the background there. So maybe things like that you might want to consider. But of course, after I did it, I was like, oh wow, you could take these so many different ways. So okay, those are the papers I basically began with. And then I thought, well, maybe something like this. You know, that could be like a little piece of jewelry, some more little pieces of jewelry. Things like that, those little group of flowers. Plus that would be nice if you caught some of the black. That might be nice. So those are just some ideas for you. But today, to simplify this for you, of how you will get a nice range of buttons and a nice background, I chose two papers, double-sided, and then did this one. Let me bring that up. So this basically incorporates everything. It has a homemade button for people who don't have die-cut buttons, which I did use on some because I wanted a larger die-cut, a larger button than my die-cut set has. So that's what we'll be doing today, just to make this easy for you. Okay, so I chose 2 sheets of double-sided. This is from DCWV, Regency, and Bella and Bloom. So we have 2 there and 2 there. And they all coordinate, even though they're from 2 different packs. And I chose this one because this foil will make some pretty buttons or it might even make a pretty background. So that's what I did. And then let me get my buttons here. Then I chose a bunch of, I have 4 packs of these, and this is something that has to get used. I no longer make cards very much. So I grabbed some colors that coordinated with the paper. So I have a bunch of buttons, either from the papers, the designer papers, or from the scrapbook, plain scrap cardstock paper. So I cut out a whole bunch of buttons. I would recommend probably doing that, and I would recommend probably threading them first. And then some of them I embossed so that I could make my own embossed buttons. And some of them are debossed, so I could use the debossed side to make buttons. So those are some other ways that you can get some very interesting buttons if you do not have a die cut, button die cuts. So you will need those, of course, and I have 1 set. But as I said, when I wanted a larger button, I made my own. Okay, so that's just a simple thing to follow if you desire. And I have 1 already done, and I have 3 already cut out and backed. And I did not, since I already chose one of the papers to do this one, these are different, and the one I did not choose for a background heart is the polka dots. But polka dots would always make some cute buttons, so that's why I included that. But that's going to give me 4 more different styles, but we'll still coordinate. Okay, so then you will need some thread of your choice. I wish I had more metallic thread, but to kind of hearken to the jewelry, I chose a gold metallic thread for some. I chose some twine for some, and I have some embroidery thread here for some. Metallics, if you want to rim your buttons or your hearts. Glue. I wanted a stitched heart, stitched edge heart, although I have many different heart die cuts, but I chose these 2. So, okay, that's pretty much it. And then I saved all of these. Oh, and punches. Sorted punches to make your buttons. This is 1 inch. This is 1 inch. And when it takes a little practice, but even in I think this is 5/8 inch, you can get 2 holes in there if you want to make smaller buttons by hand. So Don't feel like you can't make buttons, even if you don't have die cuts. So I'm going to keep these here, and I already have some buttons chosen for my next design, and I'm just going to lay them out, and I'm going to pay attention to the clock because the first set of buttons took, the first 4 probably took 5 hours because I was using scraps. Well, maybe 4 hours. I was using scraps, and the scraps were thin scrapbook paper, so I had to glue everything onto a base, cut everything out, thread all the buttons prior to gluing them on. You know, they were my first ones, so they took a little longer. So that was another reason why I went to something more simple. I don't think you want to be spending that amount of time. And really the only reason I have not taken the time to cut out some buttons from my stash for quite some time. So it's a little low. But normally I often take scrap paper and cut out some buttons. So I use a needle for this. Maybe I even have enough thread here to get started. And if I have to, I'm going to turn the camera off and get these threaded, so you don't have to sit there and watch this part. You can run a U through the back, tie it in the front if you want. I did some like that. But generally I went through, I tried to make my thread a focal point on some, especially the gold. And that metallic thread is so fine, I had to go through like 6 times to even get it to show up. And just go through the back there. Make a little knot so it doesn't come undone. And then I trim those before I glue them on. So that's what really took the time. And then whatever you want to embellish, sequins, what else do I have here? I have some pearls, I have some rhinestones, I have a little heart punch. I put a little tiny heart on some more rhinestones. Whatever you choose to add your little extras in between your buttons, I'm going to leave that up to you. And then the final thing that's actually helpful is your phone or your device to take a picture of your layout. But before you begin threading your buttons, which is what I did, I created a layout, an arrangement, took a picture, threaded my buttons, and then then when I had to glue them on, I already knew where everything was supposed to go. Okay. So, I hope everyone's doing well. Getting ready for the big heat wave. Okay. So, start getting some kind of layout here. And often they had a pretty little piece of jewelry in the center. And then they work the buttons around it. Then another thing, okay, I already said that. I have some gold rub-ons. Those might, I was thinking those might be something you could put on your more plain background to mimic jewelry, the effect of jewelry. But these are so, I mean, you could go so many different ways with these. Even if you didn't want to try to mimic jewelry, you could just go with a theme. Like you could choose plaid or something for the background and then make all your buttons look like fabric. You could do all foil, you could do all embossing. You could go so many ways. Rustic, vintage, you could do different shapes than hearts. I'm probably going to do some in coffee cups or teacups. Teacups would be gorgeous. Leaves. Oh, jeez. I think some of their, now I'm all knotted here. Some of their jewelry was half moons. Some of their, these were brooches or brooches. Brooches, how do you say that? I never know how to say that. Brooch, brooches, brooch. Is it brooch? I don't know. I rarely wear them. I call them pins. Brooch, I think it is. Somebody advise me, or I'll look it up so I don't embarrass myself further. I know very few ladies today who wear brooches, but I do think those flower ones, those artsy flower ones, are quite lovely. if I wear a pin, which I guess I have a few left over from my mom. If I wear one, it's usually to keep my sweater together. My no-button sweaters. Okay, so I guess I'm hopefully going to get these all threaded. I might actually cut this part out so you don't have to sit there through all that, or speed it up. That's probably what I'll do. And again, you can thread a little seed bead on there if you wanted. That would be quite pretty. I didn't feel like taking the time to dig out seed beads that would, and then make a jewelry needle. Didn't feel like doing all that. So I just stuck with paper, sequins, and a hint of a nod to jewelry. Okay, let me make sure I'm in here. We're at 31. Yeah, I think I'll be able to. Let's see, I think I'm going to put the heart in the center. Again, I've got to try to remember, either keep those shapes different or make sure they're not lined up like two eyeballs. Don't want it to end up looking like a smiley face. One of these might be getting cut out. Okay, I'm going to move this to the center. That way I can have a little more space. Okay. That's not too bad. So I'm going to take a pick. Let me get to camera. Okay. Take a pick. Get these cut off. I was also using this thread to give these buttons a little dimension. Being cotton, the bookbinding glue is good enough. Probably Elmer's is good enough. Okay. my picture here. My glue. Get my glue started. Make sure I'm still in. Oh, and the other thing I forgot. Let me just grab that stick real thick, quick. I have a bunch of like textured papers. Any textured paper I could find. I also thought would make nice buttons. So that was behind this choice. It matches the center of that flower. The center of that little peachy rust flower there. Okay. That one. I can see where I need a filler already. Hold that for a second. Star. For my sequins, I used the Jewel Lit glue. I mean, maybe I didn't have to, but I did. And I think I'm just going to use sequins again. Okay. This is pretty. I like this mix of colors. Now I really didn't, I forgot to rim my heart with gold. So this one is not going to get rimmed apparently. Because I don't want to, that button's a little close. And I don't want to accidentally smudge any gold onto it. So I forgot that. But if you desire to rim your with metallic, these are Deco Color Premium by Uchida. Love them. My gold is running out, so I really have to order new gold, and that's another reason it was being temperamental. So okay, I am just going to choose a couple of sequins here. Get my little homemade picker-upper. Oh, I didn't realize I had a blue. That might be nice. Yeah, I'm going to choose a blue. And I think kind of this coppery one. And I turned mine so they were bottom side up, just so it looked more like a little jewel. And then I placed them where I thought they would look nice. Okay. So I'm going to finish all of these up today, probably. Forgot to bring a journal over here so I could show you how you might use them. I don't think this one's going to be going. I put more buttons on than normal. How many buttons do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's 9 pieces on this heart too. Depending on what you choose. Maybe you like yours not so crowded. I kind of like it with 9 elements. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Okay. So, where'd my paper go? There we have it. That's a little more simple, but still, maybe I could maneuver my gold gel pen to go around the edge, but I think I'm not going to worry about it because I have enough rimmed that I think I'm just going to leave things as they are. So now I have all this lovely, these lovely embellishments to use, and don't forget, you can make your own buttons. That's a homemade embossed button, and to bring it out the detail a little bit, I did go over it, just gave a light touch with some pastel ink, and then that brought the detail, the debossed detail out. Don't forget, you can use, remember, if your background is plain, you're going to want your buttons to be as ornate as possible. And if your background is busy, you're going to want your buttons to be a little more plain. And I also forgot to rim some of those buttons with gold, but I think I could manage to put some little gold dots on that one probably. And that's probably what I will do, to just try to add a little more gold into there somewhere. But I'll do that on my time, and then I'll take a picture, and I think I have enough for a photo here. And I'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I don't think there's anything I forgot. I'll be saving these to do another project to get all of these to go together. So then I'll have some more little ephemera to go with my embellishments. Let me just quick see here what a mix and match would look like. Oh my god. Wouldn't that make the prettiest card? Oh my goodness. Okay, let me try another one. That would make a beautiful card. Look at that. Okay, that's totally awesome. Let me just pop another one in there just for... Oh boy, I think I might have to, yeah. I might have to, put one of those in the photo like that. That would make a pretty card. Look at that. Okay. Alright. Thanks again, everyone. I will see you next time. You have a great day and a great week. Bye.